Hi everyone, the Mature Simmer here. So, I'm here on the farm, getting ready to go treat the weeds. We're in at least the second growth stage for our oats, so it's definitely time to get this taken care of. Alright, so we've just got a little bit of herbicide. I don't honestly remember where I put my tanker. So I've got enough equipment, and certainly enough that I don't use it that often. So let me go look for it. And once I find it, I'll make some decisions. Found it. So it's up here on 97, 98. Still pretty full. So I've got to go down and do those fields at some point anyway, so now's as good a time as any. I am glad that at this point I've still got this set up as an herbicide tanker. Because if I had converted it to liquid fert, I'd have to bring it back down to the workshop, change it over, and bring it back up, and at that point I'd probably reverse the process, just because I'd already be up there, and it might just be worth it to knock those out before I move back down. But it really honestly depends how the mood strikes me on a lot of the things that I do on FSN and the sequence I do them, because that's just how I roll. So it's been a pretty nice day. The auctions have been slowing down on the server a bit. We haven't had one every other day like we were seeing for several weeks. So after 4 or 5 days without anything, 23 and 24, which is down the road here a bit, are coming up. They're a little oddly shaped. There's a good amount of forest on them, so nothing attractive for me at this point. And I'm guessing nobody else is going to pick it up either. But you never know. We did post it out on the server Discord the other day, just so people would be aware and know that it was actually live and active. So that's usually a good indication that nobody's going to do anything with it, is when it's already actually live and there are no bids and nobody's commented on it. So it's a combination of nobody's looking for extra fields and nobody's bidding. So just shows a general lack of disinterest. So let me top this off, because why not? And where do we want to start? I think I'm going to go ahead and start on 30, because it's just a little more of an issue with the headlands. So we'll do that, get our GPS set up. So get that all ready to go. And we'll adjust the line later, start opening things up here. And it's always challenging with cereal crops. If I had to visually find weeds, you can see how that would probably be nigh impossible. And yeah, I have to be fully zoomed out with this sprayer. It's just so wide, which is great. That's what you want. Whoops. A little too much momentum. See if I can straighten that out a bit. Alright, I think we're good to go. Let's start spraying. So yeah, it's obviously cereal crops look very, very much like weeds, I guess, is what I'm going for. I was trying to come up with some poetic way to say it, but it's either early or there just isn't. We're talking about weeds after all. So, get this sprayed. And the challenge once again is, I'm not going to be able to tell at all on the ground, even from the overhead view, which is usually the best way if I've covered an area. So I just kind of need to go by memory and feel, and can take a quick look at the map once in a while just to see if I see any little pink dots. Let's move this line over now. So I'm going to circle back around because I'm too close to the field to make that big of an adjustment. And that should do her for us and put us in some pretty good position to just crank this out as always. So I'm going to get going on this. I'll see you in a little bit. all finished with getting all the fields done, so I'm going to fill up this tank so that it's full for the next time it gets used. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the Christmas present, which was using some new background music for the time lapse as opposed to the same tracks that I've been using for the last 30 plus episodes. So we've got at least a new one to keep you entertained. So you're welcome. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If not, I'll try again at some other future date. So I've got that done. The only other thing I need to take care of before I leave Hilly Seneca for the day is I'm going to go ahead and take a look at those fields 23 and 24 that are up for auction, even though I don't think anybody's going to buy them. I just want to make sure they're in good shape. So as part of my role as mayor, that's part of what I tend to do. Just sometimes I honestly tend to forget, because I had done the whole map, but as you can see, we've got, fields that are starting to get a little sloppy at the edges again, and I just want to make sure that I'm not assuming things are good and they're not, because I know it would be disappointing. It might not be frustrating. Everybody that's on the server here is really great, and nobody's really brought it up, but I don't want anybody upset that they're expecting to get a nice field that they can begin work with immediately if they buy it off auction, and they suddenly have to go plow things, even if it's just a little bit. It's just one of those that the agreement is that that's not how they receive fields, and I need to do what I need to do to make sure that that's the experience they have, because that's how we keep a happy community going. So, not a whole lot. I actually like the method I use now, which was basically bring the trailer down here, continue to return to it by putting it somewhat in a central location, kind of work out almost in a spoke fashion. So, I did 30, then I went over to 89, then I came right back to the trailer, did 29. Before I left 29, I went over and then did, filled up, and then went and did 86 and 85, and was able to do that with one load. Came back before I drove back up to 97, 98, and one load got me all the way done, and then I topped off up there. So that's actually a pretty clean way to do it as far as efficiency. So, as I've indicated many times on the Mature Simmer channel trailer and so forth, I seek nothing if not efficiency in the time that I am sitting here and operating things, because that just means I get to do more things and have more fun if I'm not wasting a bunch of time doing things that can be done faster. So I'm happy that I found what I think is a better way. I just need to remember it for the next time. And it may not work for things like if I'm doing liquid fert. I'll have to take a look at that, but if not, if this was the high consumption, I may have found a solution both for liquid fert and for herbicide, which is terrific. So I'm going to go take a look at those fields. So while it was a little bit of a coincidence, I did that little jump for joy as I came back in, or entered into the fields 24 and 23, and it was kind of foreshadowing that I didn't have to do anything. Now, I did notice up at 25, that one's in pretty bad shape, so I'm going to have to deal with that certainly by the next time that comes up. And sometimes, again, if I've got quiet time nothing's really going on. Sometimes I'll just pop in and do that kind of maintenance on the server as well. So I kind of made a mental note that 25 needs some plow work to get things done. And finally, the last thing, as I was working, that I went ahead and thought about was, I'm pretty sure this winter I'm going to do some work up on 97 to tidy things up. There's just little things here and there every time I work it that kind of are like, oh, that's right, I've got to remember this, oh, I've got to do that. So I'll keep you in suspense, I guess, on what I've got on my mind. And if I go ahead and do that in the winter, I'll likely do that as its own episode, because there's not going to be much else going on anyway. So you can see the detail then. But right now, we are done in early summer, and we're just going to let our oats go ahead and grow, and we'll wait for the ability to get them off the field. So if you like what you're seeing on the channel and you want to make sure you're aware when I post new things, please subscribe. Also like this video. It helps out a lot. And I'll see you next time.